Okay, to my Ishbachi, we are going to I'm going to show you how to tie that knot and finish your second row. So first row is complete all the way around. I have my knots hidden as best as possible. I started backwards again, but this is where my knot is for the moment. Let's see, right down there, I have a tiny little knot in there, right? So I need to connect the other side to complete the circle. So what I'm gonna show you is how I like to do my knot. And you are welcome to do this differently. You just need to make sure that it is secure. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and line up, let's see, I'll zoom in for this part. So I'm going to, try and line up as best as I can straight across from that knot. And you're gonna go on the nice side. So you're gonna look on the outside of that U, right? Because think about how this one goes across through the leather, right? And so it's folded so it stays shut. You're gonna start from that pretty side and just scoot over just enough so that a bead could fit nicely. And then you're gonna go through just that one piece of leather first. Okay, push it through. Also, terribly important, make sure that all of your leather pieces are facing the same way before doing this, because this kind of like locks it all in. Okay. Now, carefully going to pull that through. Okay. Now you see that's going to line it up nicely. And also, I want to show all of you how I added. So I tried to make it obvious. So this is my added bead. I added 2 beads here. This is my added bead. This is my added bead. And I added 1 bead here and another bead there. Okay, so now that we've gone through, we're going to, and again, always remember or figure out where your tail is. You don't want your tail to get too short. What we're gonna do is we're going to scoot up right next to that knot that we made. Let's see, should I zoom in? There we go. So right next to that knot, you're going to carefully push your needle, which I always use a table because I don't want to hurt myself or break my needle. You want to support your needle too. If you don't support the middle of this, it's going to snap, and it's extremely dangerous when it snaps. It's extremely sharp. Okay, now you want to avoid that first bead and just slide your needle next to it. Your needle will want to go through that straight bead or that first bead if you line it up right. Yeah, and you pull it through. Okay. Like we were saying in class, this acts like a drawstring. So however you pull it is how nicely it'll like cinch up. Otherwise it'll stay open like this. So important to cinch it all the way up. Okay, I'm gonna spin mine real quick. Okay, so now we've completed the circle, and I'm gonna put my needle on the other side so it's just a little bit easier for me. Okay, so we've completed the second circle. And you'll kind of see that as long as you're adding beads, everything will lay pretty flat. If it begins to not lay flat, like this is kind of telling me, because it doesn't want to lay as flat, that maybe next time I need to add 2 beads. We'll kind of see as we go though. Okay, so we've gone through again. We've completed the circle. Now I like to just do this. It's just kind of helping me secure it, and I feel like it's easier to pull it together. But you're just going to go up this whole line of beads. And all I'm doing is literally just following that piece of sinew that's already in there and going up. And when you get to the end, you're gonna pull your needle out, and we're gonna go straight through that piece of leather again. So again, not trying to split your sinew that's already in there in half, but you're trying to go nice and close to it. Okay, so I'm just gonna, all I'm going to do is put my needle close to where that hole is, and I'm just gonna push my needle up to get it through that piece of leather. And sometimes you might only get it through, sometimes you might only get it through one of them. Go ahead and just tuck your needle back in and then push again and it'll come up. Notice how this is trying to go through that first bead. You want to just slide that first bead off and have your needle just come up. We're actually going to hide our knot in that first bead. Okay. So pulling, pulling, pulling. And again, we're going to pull it like a sweatshirt, hoodie, drawstring, or drawstring bag. Okay, now all the pieces of leather are nicely pulled together, and in my opinion, the wax really helps hold it, and going through this piece of leather really helps hold it. So I don't have to like pull on it tight for it to keep holding that. That's why I go through that one and come back up. Okay, now all you're going to do is take your thread and throw it over the other side. So you're gonna make a little loop right there. Make sure it's tight. You're gonna go, okay, this is a little tricky because we already have this one, right? So we need to avoid that one and just go under the one we just finished. Okay. Let's see, so I need to go like that. Oh, it's getting tangled. Okay, let's try that one more time. It's important to avoid the other row of, yeah, I just made a mess. Okay. 1 minute. It's important to avoid the other beads as well as the other piece of leather. Okay, so I'm just gonna back that up. As you can see, not always the easiest. Sometimes it'll take you a try or two. All we're doing is we're tying a knot around this piece of sinew that's already there. Okay, so your tail goes over, and then all I do is come from the back and go through that hole. Notice I started really low so that when you pull, okay, mind that piece of leather, pull, 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 and it's going to, let me zoom in, it's going to suck up right next to what we already have done down there. Okay, I put my finger on it and I pull it, just like when you wrap presents. Okay, we're going to do that again. So loop to the side, from the back, forward, come up close by there, and pull, 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 pull. Okay, put your finger on it and pull. Now, if you look, you can't even see that there's a knot there. Your bead will slide over it as soon as we do the next part. Okay, and if you want to, you could put another, what's it called, another knot. Some people, what they'll do too, is they want a knot, I think it's called like a box knot or something. You make it where you do one way and then you make it and do it the other way. So you could go like this if you wanted. So it's just reverse, putting your loop on this side and coming from the other side. And then again, pulling it down so that it cinches. Notice this bead is trying to get caught. You gotta push it down and around so it's on the other bead. Okay. And then put your finger on it and pull. Okay, and that's just a little extra security if you want to do that. The first two knots would hold. Okay, now carefully taking your needle, you're going to slide up those beads. And all we're doing is hiding and tucking our tail. So pull all of these. And I just like to go up like, I don't know, 10, 15 beads or something around there. Okay. Now we have our knot there, and we have our original knot over here. It is hidden pretty well, especially with the black. I think it's really, it hides nicely. So then you're going to pull this, and all you're gonna do is make sure that you have a little bit of tension. So I like to put my thumb on this and pull the sinew. You just want a little bit of tension on it, and then you're gonna cut it. The reason you want tension is so that when it relaxes, it'll kind of suck up into the bead, and if not, you can just kind of tuck it with your fingernail. And then that completes the circle for row 1 and 2. Again, be mindful of how your leather sits. You don't want it to be twisted. Okay, very important step. I hope you watched this far. Do not reuse this piece of sinew. Get a new piece of sinew. This would work for your cuff. There's plenty right here for going around your cuff and doing what we just did. But for your necklace, you need to be using the long pieces of sinew so that you don't have to tie a million knots. Some people, when they make these necklaces, they'll tie each section. Totally fine. You could do that if you want to, but it's just going to make more work. But yeah, go ahead, use a brand new piece of sinew. And I can show you real quick how to do that knot again, which I could just do it on this one. But get a new piece of sinew, and then you're gonna thread your needle. Also, if you have beeswax or anything too, that really helps the sinew from fraying. And one of the ladies in the class let me know that candles also work nicely. Okay. So to do that fancy knot that I was telling everybody about, you're gonna put, well, it doesn't really matter if it's your dominant or non-dominant hand. I'm right-handed, so I put it in my left hand. And then you're gonna make sure you have 2 tails. Okay, and you're gonna take your longer tail. Oops, the sinew's kind of fraying. Okay, I'm gonna switch sides real quick. There we go. Okay. Small tail, long tail. You're gonna take the end of your long tail, and you're going to have your needle in your other hand, and you're gonna take this tail, and you're gonna put it down like that. Okay, so the eye of your needle and the bottom of your tail match up like that, and pinch. Then what you're gonna do is you're gonna take this and you're gonna go down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I do 5 to 7. Okay. Now you have this little bunched up spot of all of that wrapping. You're gonna take your other hand and pinch thumb and finger and push that down, and then switch hands carefully. So you're pinching that twisted or that wrap stuff so that it'll stay. Then you might have to relax these two a little bit, but you pull with your other hand. Okay, and then you're pinching, pull, until a knot forms right at the end. Just like that. Okay, Koyana, see you next week for our next class online. Dankachikamchi.